What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Post-Gazette Pirates YouTube channel. Pirates fall to the Guardians in extra innings by a final score of 5-4 here at PNC Park on Sunday. They are swept for the second straight weekend, both of them coming to an Ohio team. Guess this team has some problems with opponents from the Buckeye State, or maybe just a lot of problems in a lot of areas. I would think that that's the case. Pirates continue their losing ways, remain in last place of the NL Central. They are now 8-15 on the season, 23 games into their 2025 campaign. As always, we have a recap for this series. Just me this time. Colin is on his way out to Los Angeles, his hometown, to cover the upcoming road trip. Pirates have 3 games against the Angels, 3 games against the Dodgers. Those will be challenging. We'll worry about those later, though. Let's recap this one. So, Pirates swept again. Second time this season they've been swept, and it's come in consecutive weekends. Weird way this one all unfolded. A little bit of everything in this series. The first game Friday didn't get a good start from Carmen Mlodzinski. The offense performed well late in 2 of these 3 games. Had some troubles getting after the starting pitching throughout all 3 of these games. They tagged Luis Ortiz for a pair of runs on Friday. They were shut out Saturday, and they got 1 run against Allen here on Sunday. But in Friday and Saturday's game, they hit the Guardians bullpen well, which is kind of a surprise because this is probably the best bullpen in all of baseball. But it still wasn't enough. They get swept. So I guess that's my first takeaway, is their continued struggles to hit starting pitching. This team, I tweeted out the averages. I don't have them in front of me just now, but I know they average less than 4 hits and 2 runs per game against opposing starting pitchers. Now, that's not a 9-inning average. That's just a straight average. They average less than 2 runs and less than 4 hits per game against big league starters. They're hitting .204 against major league starters this season. And I believe they've scored more runs against relief pitchers, against bullpens, than starting pitchers. Which, in one side of the coin, you could argue, okay, well, the bullpen typically has the less established arm compared to a starter. But when you're only seeing a bullpen for 2 to 3 innings a game, I mean, I believe opposing starters are averaging at least 21 plate appearances against the Pirates, which means they're typically going deeper into games. That tells me that they're just too little too late more often than not offensively. And that was the case here Sunday where, yeah, they tag Emmanuel Clase, for my money, the best relief pitcher in baseball. I know he's not having a great start to the season, but he's a 3-time All-Star who got Cy Young votes last year, so I'm going to keep calling him that. They tag him for 3 runs, tie the game, but you can't always be playing catch-up, especially when you have an offense built like this, and when you're giving no run support to your starting rotation, which is supposed to be the strength of this team. It's a losing recipe. Let's look at Mitch Keller specifically for this. This is a guy who has not had a run scored while he was on the mound since the home opener. April 4th, Brian Reynolds hit a solo homer off Max Fried in the bottom of the 3rd inning, and that was the last run support that Mitch Keller has received. He's thrown 3 times since then. He has an ERA of 2.45 over those 3 outings. One of those outings included a 7 1/3 scoreless performance against the Cardinals, and then it was 6 innings of 3-run ball his last start, and then today 5 innings of 2-run ball. So obviously, a little room for improvement, but those outings, especially the first 2, maybe not today because he only went 5 innings, should be more than enough to win you a game. And the fact that he's going to go 0-2 with a no decision in that stretch, or that he has gone, 0-2 with a no decision in that stretch, is simply inexcusable. You just can't have that. And again, they're not just wasting Keller either. They're 2-3 in games that Paul Skeens has started this year. And that includes a loss on Saturday in this series where he threw 7 innings of really good baseball, allowed 2 runs, both earned, and that lost them the game. They lost the game 3-0. So, I mean, the offense, like I say pretty much every time I'm on this channel, the offense is a problem. They don't do a lot correctly. And when you're mixing and matching with different things as far as matchups are concerned, and you don't necessarily have the top hitters on the team in the lineup every day, I think you're putting your team at a little bit of a disadvantage. And I know manager Derek Shelton gets a lot of criticism for his lineups. I feel like I haven't been super critical of that, especially early this season, just because there's always kind of been an injury, or you have to try certain guys out in certain places. This series was the first one that was a real head-scratcher to me. Not sure why Joey Bart, Andrew McCutchen, and IKF were on the bench Saturday. Not sure why O'Neal Cruz was not in the starting lineup Sunday. I know they're facing a lefty, but O'Neal Cruz is your hottest bat on the team. He had homered 3 straight games. Did he homer Saturday? No, he didn't homer Saturday because they were shut out. But, okay, so he'd still been hitting the ball very well, nonetheless. My apologies on that mistake there. Corrected it. Shouldn't be a big deal. But, nonetheless, he's been hitting the ball really well this week. And for him not to play in this one where you're trying to avoid a sweep. I know you want to get Canario at bats, but what's stopping you from maybe playing Canario in left field and not Tommy Pham? I don't know. I don't understand that one. It felt like they never really had a complete lineup in these last 2 games of the series. I thought their best lineup in this series was on Friday night, and coincidentally they happened to score 7 runs in that game. So I think there's more consistency to be had there, especially just with the state of the team. I don't think you can really worry about matchups. I know that that's the way to think here, but with how bad the offense is, it might just be something as simple as, look, we have 5 to 6 guys who are competent big league hitters right now. They need to be playing every day. So that's my big takeaway there. Final one here. Final thing to hit on before we end this recap is just kind of the road ahead. Looking at the teams they've played so far, sure, they had some challenges. I mean, the Rays are always tough. The Yankees are always tough. This Guardians team is probably going to be in the playoffs again. But they also had some very winnable games they played. I don't think the Reds are going to be a playoff team this year. I don't think the Cardinals will be a playoff team either. And the Marlins, they're still in the early phases of a rebuild. And I would include the Nationals in that rebuilding conversation as well. I think they're toward the end of their rebuild. But those are 4 teams where when you play them, and if you're serious about competing, you need to win those series. And the Pirates lost a 4-game series in Miami to start the season. They got swept in Cincinnati last weekend. To their credit, they took 2 of 3 against St. Louis at home and 3 of 4 against Washington at home earlier this week. But they left a lot of winnable ball games on the table, and now you look at the road ahead. They play their next 4 opponents all entered today with a record of 500 or better. I believe combined record, they're 20 games over 500 or something along those lines. I wrote it in my analysis piece that you can read at post-gazette.com. Yeah, you got the Angels and the Dodgers out in the West Coast. One of those 2 teams should absolutely scare you, with that being the Dodgers. And then you come home to play 2 teams that are currently in first place, the Cubs and the Padres. It's not getting any easier for Derek Shelton's club. They're in last place. They have a lot of flaws. It's going to be rough. I don't see how this turns around. If they can turn it around, if they can win some series coming up here, they might be all right, but that's a big might. I'm not sure. You can still read all my work, regardless of how the Pirates are playing, at post-gazette.com. My name's Noah Hiles. Follow the Post-Gazette on all of its social media platforms. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. And, of course, we're on YouTube. Like I said, subscribe to this channel at PG Pirates on YouTube and keep following along. We'll have you covered not only this upcoming week while they're out in L.A., but for the rest of the regular season as well.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.